So I am a NOOB rider. Um, I really am. I really am still learning. I've been riding again for about 8 months after a 10-year break, and before that I was riding for about 8 months. So when I jumped back on the motorbike, which was a GS 500F, back in August, it's April now, I really was taken right back to NOOB status, and I've been learning how to survive ever since. Everything from cornering to road positioning. I'm probably over analytical, trying to get the better of it all. But every day is a school day as far as I'm concerned. But there have been some things that I've definitely learned in the last 8 months. So first year of riding, which I think are possibly beneficial to other people. To anyone who is just a step or two behind me, I could offer my thoughts as potentially worth listening to. Now, if you've passed your test, I think he's letting me go, is he? No, I won't do that. If you've passed your test, you're going to know that you should assume that nobody can ever see you. Bikers are invisible, and I think there tends to be a little bit of a sort of a bit of tribalism with that, like, oh hey, everyone's bad, everyone in the car is bad, bloody cages. And in my time on a bike again, I've certainly had all of those many moments where clearly whoever's in the car is just in their own world, and they don't see you, they're not even looking. But I think that, to expand on that, the thing that I've really learned is not like, oh, hate car drivers and, because they don't even bloody look for you. It's not about that. It's actually more about chilling the hell out, like acknowledging that they're not going to see you, acknowledging the likelihood that they're not going to. And so the biggest thing to learn is not to overreact, not to kick off, not to bloody go apeshit just because they're driving up too close to you, or they started to make a maneuver and they didn't really know that you were there, because they're digging around in a bag of Haribo, or they're maybe fiddling on their phones, but quite within the law they might just be sort of adjusting the stereo, and they're just in their bubble. And I'm not defending them for not looking around and being aware, but I'm just saying that they're human and they make mistakes, and most people on a motorbike are also people that drive cars, and you've had those moments, and I know you know that. And so when something happens to us, when someone maneuvers in a way that puts us in danger, when our adrenaline kicks in and we're all just outraged, the likelihood is that if we're busy flipping them off with the middle finger or something like that, just kicking off or waving at them and being like, what the hell are you doing, buddy? The chances are we're not actually concentrating on the road, and so what we're doing is increasing the risk to ourselves just because we're pissed off. Now, it shouldn't be anything that we didn't expect. That they might not see us, that there might be a whoopsie moment. And if we can just, being angry at them doesn't get you anything more, apart from putting you in danger and potentially more risk. And it's just true. And I say that as a really calm person. Like I'm a mega calm person. Like some people say, unnervingly calm. Like I'm quoted as saying, I am in this manner. Look, I'm really quite livid about this at the moment. And then they're like, whoa, bloody hell, psychopath or something. You gotta show some emotion. But I am emotional. I stay calm. That being said, I found myself bombing down the A38 and someone's put me at risk, and I'm busy there at 70 taking the time to like wave at them and yell inside my helmet, not that they can hear me, what the hell are you doing? And at that point I was not concentrating on the road, I was not concentrating on my own safety, on bringing that situation back to safety. I was being entitled to rage, and it's like, well, fine, maybe I was entitled to it, but acting that out, it doesn't get you anywhere apart from maybe in the hospital or worse. I just think, you know, shake your head more inside yourself. You knew it was going to happen. Every day we get on these bikes, we know that there's a risk related to it, and so we make the choice to be on these machines, and as fun as they are, they carry higher levels of risk. And the problem with that is that when a whoopsie almost occurs, our adrenaline kicks in and we get that near-death experience, and maybe we're looking for someone to blame, maybe we need an outlet for that adrenaline, but it's only going to put us in more danger. So yeah, something I've learned over these 8 months is, even to a higher degree than I already am, or I'm likely to be, stay calm. Just chill out, understand it's going to happen, be vigilant. When it happens, be forgiving. Everyone's a human here, and most likely it's just a bit oblivious. That's it. It's not malicious. And let he who is without sin cast the first stone. I'm not religious, but I know that's a saying. Let's not be hypocritical. Another thing I've really learned sort of going in to motorcycling is that I went into it for the relief of financial reasons, so trying to minimize that daily commute. But I've got to say, like, my first bike, the GS500F, when I got on first of all, that took a fair bit of money just to get it straight or keep it straight. Don't know where I'm going. I'm literally just riding. And whilst daily petrol or fuel costs might be a little bit minimized, motorcycling is actually quite expensive. You've got to shell out for good gear. I had to make sure I had a better helmet. You need to obviously keep the bike maintained. Whatever attention a car needs, say like with servicing every 1,000 miles, a bike is something that you're going to need to spend money on a bit more often than that. Oil changes every 1,000 miles perhaps. You need to stay on top of all of that, and the cost does come up a little bit. So motorcycling is not cheaper. And you should be prepared to, for the sake of safety as well as everything else, just always be making sure that your bike has what it needs. Take care of the bike and it'll take care of you as much as it possibly can. And so, yeah, I would say definitely consider that, you're going to be spending quite a bit of money on a bike. It's not necessarily cheaper when you take, say, 6 months of costs into consideration. So the daily cost of fuel might be a little bit cheaper, and I say a little bit, but there are lots of other different costs, other things to replace, from your bike gear to things on your bike to maintenance fluids. That's stuff to take into consideration. That being said, the daily cost can be a little bit lower, but we're going to see that in point number 3 about the balance of that. But a last point on finances and fuel, like this bike maybe gets 45-50 to the gallon. The bonus is that it's petrol, so that's cheaper on that front. But my Ford Mondeo, Mark IV Ford Mondeo, my Ford Mondeo gets reliably 46 to 47. That's diesel, but which is a bit higher cost. Over a month I might feel like a bit more, but quite honestly, cut 2 bottles of wine out of your monthly allowance, it's probably evening out really, and it's a bit healthier. So yeah, motorcycling is not necessarily financially an improvement, if I'm honest. Sorry folks. But you know, I've had to buy parts for the other bike. I've had to buy tools to fit the parts to the other bike. I've had to buy oil and things like that, and brake fluid. It depends on the bike you got, but you know, it does mount up. Anyway, point number 3, motorcycling, it's not practical at all. My fucking god. No, it's not practical at all. I mean, okay, so you can save some time if you're bombing along, you know, on a commute, which is why I got the bike. My commute consisted of, you know, a few miles in the city, and then about 30 miles on faster country lanes, and mainly the dual carriageway, the A38. And whilst I might have been able to filter through traffic a bit in the city and gain a few minutes, here's the actual truth about that. I actually don't know where I'm going, and I should know where I'm going before I go there, because motorcycling is about planning. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, motorcycling, it's not practical. So, you know, you might be able to, like, jump through a bit of filtered traffic, which is, it always feels nice. It always feels victorious. But the truth is, a motorbike, you know, you leave later, or you need more prep time. So sometimes I'm standing next to my car, and I'm putting bike gear on, I'm doing my pre-ride checks, you know, which is something you really should do, especially if you're bombing down a motorway. So I'm there, like, yeah, putting on my bike gear, doing my pre-ride checks, packing any bags and fastening them, like my little soft box, to the back of the bike. That can take 15-20 minutes, and then on the other side at work, I've got to get out of my smelly bike gear and stow that away somewhere. That's all really time consuming, and you don't get that in a car. And sometimes I know that, you know, by the time I'm on the bike, my last bike I had to warm it up and stuff as well. By the time I'm on the bike, it's warmed up and I'm starting to leave, I could have been 20 minutes into the rush hour and, you know, almost ready to hit the motorway. And so, you know, the truth is that motorcycling, it does not really save time, and it's certainly not practical. You're laden down with all of your protective gear. What you can take in luggage is not actually, well, you've got loads of stuff with you that you need to carry around, your equipment. And then any luggage that you do have, you know, your phone and things like that, it's not secure and locked away. So you've got to kind of have that with you as well. So, yeah, motorcycling is really not practical, and for that reason, it's also not faster. You know, you can get to your car in the morning, half awake, and you know, with a travel mug of coffee in your hand, and chuck on a podcast and be gone, and 20 minutes down the road. On a motorbike, you've got to, you know, prepare all this sort of stuff, do your pre-ride checks, get your gear on, get your head in the right space, and then hit the road. And you might make up a bit of time with filtering traffic, but, you know, it doesn't really add up. So, and the other thing is that my GS500F, you know, it could hit 60, 70 as much as I needed it to, and this one certainly can. But I'm a speed limit person anyway, and so, you know, I wouldn't make up time by speeding. But then the other thing is that on something like a motorway or on corners in particular kind of roads, you know, you're on two wheels, and so I actually don't know. I don't know where I'm going. Ooh, that was a bit unpredictable of me. That's not cool. Oh, I know where I am. Yeah, you're on two wheels. You're not going to be taking some corner at 50 like Mavis in a Fiat 500 does. You're not, and if you do, then you're taking a big risk, which again, Mavis is not taking that risk. You know, on corners, on country roads, you know, you're going to have your speed down. On the motorway, you know, especially when it's windy or it's wet, you know, you're not feeling like you've got all that traction that you need. Yeah, you might not want to ride so fast, and that's just the way it is. And maybe you shouldn't ride too fast, you know. Um, but again, come back to Mavis in her Fiat 500. She doesn't give a shit, and honestly, they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit about the speed limit. Bikers have got the bad reputation for the minority that speed, but for the most part, I know that motorcyclists are speed appropriate, and all of that stuff. But car drivers, you can be on a wet country road and be chilling out on the corners because you're slipping and sliding and on two wheels, and you'll have a car so far up your arse that you can't read their reg plate in your mirrors, and they don't care, and they're twiddling around on a stereo. So anyway, what I'm saying is that you might have this acceleration, and that's exciting, and it gives the illusion of bikes being fast all around, but they're not really. When it all comes down to it, whether it's because you're getting your gear on and your pre-ride checks sorted slows you down, or whether it's because in the actual journey it's not actually faster than a car, they're not faster. so covering these points, the things that I've learned, it seems quite negative actually, which is that car drivers are going to put you in dangerous situations, but try not to stress about it because it will put you in more danger. Motorcycling is not financially rewarding when it all comes down to it, and probably over a 6-month stretch. And then on the practical side of it, it's very impractical, and for that it's not even a faster way to travel. But what else have I learned about motorcycling? It's that I'm still doing it after 8 months, despite all of those things. Despite being terrified every time I get on the bike most of the time, I enjoy it. It's something that I enjoy. I enjoy having it as part of my life. I actually, when I'm at home, I'm generally, looking at something about motorbikes or something like that. I really enjoy motorbikes and what they are and what they offer. I love the idea of going out and touring on a motorbike, so going on a day out, going to the coast. It's nice for that to be on the bike. There is something really alluring and beautiful about them, and risk, reward, pros and cons, all of that stuff. Despite my very nervous disposition, I still find that I'm getting on it, and even on a wet Sunday morning like this. And I know I need to learn a lot to get better and be safer, but I'm also enjoying that journey as well. So yeah, those are some of the things that I've learned going in, and I hope that's kind of useful for anyone. I hope that's interesting. So if you're getting back on the bike, or you're starting out and you're a complete noob, I hope some of these things are actually helpful, just to help you brace yourself for that. But yeah, motorcycling is kind of fun. And you might have noticed on this ride, also another thing you need to think about that I've learned is that the nod is very important. Motorcyclists, they nod to each other. It's sort of saying like, "Oh, hey mate, how's it going?" And there were times when I've really needed that. I've been cold and wet and scared, and then another biker has just given me a bit of a nod, and I've been like, "Oh yeah, that's what this is about. It's about loving what we do and enjoying it, and saying hey to each other." And I think it's really lovely. So yeah, think about your nod. You need to plan that. Are you doing the up and down, or are you doing the side? I've gone with the side one most of the time, and it's just a little community gesture, and it's really quite nice. But yeah, anyway, right. So I hope you found that interesting and helpful more than anything. But yeah, I've been back on the bike 8 months. I'm still learning. But those are some of the things that I think some of my epiphanies, some of my, And yeah, so I hope that's good for you. Right, I'm just going to enjoy the last little bit of my Sunday morning ride, and then get myself home for a Sunday morning cuppa, and then get back to life. Do the washing, change the sheets, get set up for the week of work. Ugh. But hey, that's life, eh? Check this out. And then this top spot, I would have changed, but you were undertaking me. See? So the guy that's doing 65 in a 50 and undertakes you, it's not the guy to get in front of when you're filtering traffic. See the rev there? Ooh. But look at it. It's horrid. It's just horrid. I see where this person is confused. Everyone gets confused here. It's gonna bully that little car the whole way. Yeah, that's another thing actually, you know, I started in a particular lane, I got to the speed limit, I was gonna go over to the left where I'm meant to be, you know, that's fine, but you can't because, you know, some car drivers, they do just rev up and undertake, they don't care. Check your blind spots even where you're not even meant to have to. You know, it's just one of those things really, but I'm sure he feels very good about himself and his big shiny penis. You can't teach that. I think he's just born an asshole.